Okay, so now we'll be looking at how we can identify risk and how we can classify them. So here I have given you one scenario, and you have to read the scenario like an auditor. So this is a menu core profile, and we are trying to highlight here the risk signal and the word that suggests the weaknesses. So you can spend some time to review it. So if you look at here, in the first line, we have given industry name. In second line, we have a systems. So we have SAP ECC on-premise, then the legacy HR system. So the first word which highlight here is a legacy HR system, which means we are using an old software, probably unpatched, possibly with non-vulnerabilities that have not been fixed. Now we have another one in the system, shared network devices, which means almost always means no access control. Everyone see everything. Now for the IT team, we will see no dedicated security staff, which means that no one owns security. Access reviews, any patches or security monitoring are being done part-time by the generalist or maybe not at all. Now, if you look at the situation, we are saying preparing for first external IT audit ahead of bank refining. So it says first IT audit, which means no one has ever formally tested the controls. So first audit almost always find multiple high risk issues. Now the last one says bank refinancing, which means financial data accuracy matters enormously right now. So any risk to that data is amplified. So now let's look at the reasoning. So here is work example of 1 out of 5 risk. So I'm saying that my risk description is unauthorized access to SAP financial data due to excessive user permission. So now notice the structure here. What would happen? Unauthorized access. To what? SAP financial data. Because of what? Which is excessive permissions. So this is a professional format. We do not use a vague descriptions like security issues or access problems. It cannot drive remediation. No one knows what to fix. Now the risk type here is cybersecurity or access control. So access control is a subcategory of cybersecurity risk. So naming both helps when mapping two frameworks later. So it tells the client who owns the problem, whether the CISO or IT security teams. Now the likelihood is 4. So why we will think why it is 4, not 5? Because 5 means almost certain, like true in almost every company of this type. And a 4 means probably exist here based on the profile, with no dedicated security staff and a legacy ERP. Access reviews are very likely not current, but we haven't confirmed it yet. We only have the briefing. So if we tested and found no reviews in 3 years, we might move to 5 year. Now for the impact, we are saying 4, which is major. Because again, 5 is critical, business threatening, and the SAP data is important for the refinancing. But this is a business financial data, not patient record or payment card data. So the regulatory exposure is significant but not existential. So if it were a bank of or hospital, the impact would be 5. Now the risk level 5, 4 times 4 equal, which means 16. So on a 25-point scale, it is a 16, which is high. In a real engagement, high finding goes to audit committee and require a management response within 30 to 90 days. And this is not a nice to fix eventually switch situation here. So now let's look at all 5 risks together. So we are starting with a risk 2 because we already have covered the risk 1. So risk 2 is why change management is on this list, first of all. No formal change management process for SAP configuration management change. So mostly we miss this one because it sounds like a process issue, but not a technical one. And here is why it matters. In SAP, a configuration change, like changing a payment posting rule, or we are trying to adjust a tolerance limit, it can affect how every financial transaction is processed. So, a change management made with the approval, without testing, and without a rollback plan would corrupt the month end data and delay the refinancing. So, the consequences are exactly as serious as a security breach. And this is why change management is one of the most tested IT general control in every big four audits. Third one is what is CVE, which is legacy HR system not patched, non CVs unaddressed. So CVE is common vulnerabilities and exposures. It is a public database of non-software security weaknesses. So if a CVE exists for a piece of software your company is running, attacker can find it in a second. So the HR system is legacy and unpatched, meaning non-weaknesses exist in it and have not been fixed. And the HR hold employee bank account numbers for a payroll. An attacker exploiting a CV in the HR system would redirect payroll amendments to their own accounts. And this is what happened to an Australian payroll company in 2021. 1.3 million stolen before detection. Now, the fourth risk, why shared drive score likelihood to 5? It is a shared drive which we are referring to. It is a data risk. And we are almost certain means this is true at virtually every company of this profile. So the briefing says share network drives explicitly. In practice, shared drives at companies without IT governance always never have access control. So the auditor is confident enough to rate this almost certain even before testing it, and the test will confirm it. And the last one here is, if you look at the list, no documented IT disaster recovery. It is operational IT. So unlikely. It is critical, but the medium. So, so the key observation here is that after listing residual risk ratings, a real audit would also show existing controls and show how they reduce inherent risk to the residual level. We are trying to simplify here by assuming no controls. So we will see in the lab one, you will add a control gap column that shows what control is missing.